All right. Thanks, Marv, for that. Everybody getting pumped up. I feel like I should be running out on the court. But I am excited. Good morning. I'm Kristen Boone. I'm President and Chief Strategy Officer with the Boone Group, helping to elevate leaders, organizations, and communities. I've spent the majority of my 25 plus year career leading and serving nonprofits across this community and region alongside so many of you. And it is really good to see so many friends, people doing important work across this community. And I'm pleased to serve as the board chair for Cnpe. So welcome to this, our first virtual members meeting in Cmpe's history. Quick note, the event is being recorded. Historically, we would normally give our members an update at our annual conference. But as you know, we've had to postpone the 2020 and 2021 conferences to help keep everyone safe. So we are thrilled you chose to join us today for an update on what has been happening with Cnpe these last couple of years. We're excited to share some great news with you. We'll be looking at where we've been as an organization and how that has inspired the future for Cnpe to better serve our nonprofit community. We have a lot of information to share, so we invite you to ask your questions in the chat and feel free to make comments about what you are learning. We will monitor the chat and get to as many of the questions as we can. But let's begin by looking back a few years. Where we started. Cnpe was founded more than 22 years ago in 1999. The Donors Forum of Kentucky, Metro United Way, and city government came together to form the Center for Nonprofit Excellence under the direction of the founding director, Kevin Connolly. It started as a clearinghouse to serve the nonprofit sector, to organize resources and best practices, and it naturally evolved to provide professional development, consultation, and as many of you know, an annual conference. 20 years later, there is a demand for more from Cnpe. We now have nearly 500 member organizations. We have 7 capacity building professional development tracks. In 2019, we held the largest conference in Cnpe's history. As you know, the nonprofit sector has grown tremendously over the past 22 years. Today, there are more than 2,000 nonprofits in the Louisville area alone. And we know the nonprofit landscape has dramatically changed as well. The demand for nonprofit services and solutions is increasing. State and federal tax code changes complicate and threaten the very viability of our sector. Increased individualization and sophistication among donors requires new strategies and transparency. The world is complex, and you, our nonprofit leaders, volunteer boards, need more accessible training and resources, community support and understanding, as well as adequate funding. We listened, we heard, we responded. Prior to the pandemic and racial reckoning, Cnpe had been conducting surveys and member focus groups, as well as monitor and tracking national trends to prepare for a comprehensive strategic planning process. And I will say it was in October 2019, Councilman Ja'Cory Arthur met with the Cnpe team and asked us, where were the Black nonprofit leaders at our annual conference? And we're grateful to him for that honest feedback, and then extended conversations regarding this with that simple question. With that, we launched Cnpe on a very important journey that is continuing today. The racial reckoning in this city and the nation heightened the need and brought urgency to the systemic changes our community needed to make at every level. And Cnpe wants to be a leader in ensuring that systemic change in our sector. And like everyone, COVID derailed all of our plans, and we quickly refocused on how to help in the moment of crisis. Cnpe quickly stepped up and started providing tools and information to help nonprofits navigate COVID, the CARES Act, and the PPP process. The tools that were developed were shared and used locally and nationally. Bottom line, the message from our members was clear. You asked for more. You needed Cnpe to elevate into new areas, such as community leadership, convening, and resource development. Both the nonprofit organizations and donors want to see an increase in collaboration. You need more professional development. Leaders need more opportunities to learn about leading racially diverse and equitable organizations and to better understand our blind spots as leaders. Cnpe needs to expand our capability to support BIPOC nonprofit leaders. And you want more networking opportunities to foster connections with peers, stakeholders, and donors. You want Cnpe to represent the entire sector on major community issues. You want Cnpe to advocate for the sector with public officials and decision makers and the community at large. We listened, we heard, we responded. I want to recognize the board, and in particular, our former board chair, Tess McNair, who helped to lead this transformation. Thank you, Tess, for staying longer than you intended and for never giving up when times were tough. And with that, I'd like to introduce Ann Coffey, Cnpe's CEO, to give you a quick update on the Cnpe team, our impact, and financial framework.
I'm on mute. Thank you, Kristen, and thank you everyone for being here and taking the time this morning. It's a great showing and we're very appreciative. I want to begin by thanking and recognizing the Cnpe team. They have gone above and beyond to get us here today, and they've made a big difference for many people and many organizations in this community. And I'll start with our new and first Chief Operating Officer, Bridget Dale. Bridget, wave. She's been with us a few months, and we couldn't be more happy and more grateful that she's joined this team. I'm going to introduce you again to Merv Antonio. Many of you know Merv, but you may not know he's been recently promoted to the Senior Director of Learning and Convening. Couldn't do this work without Merv. He's running the show today. Ed Cordes has also been promoted to the level of Vice President of Strategic Initiatives and Consulting. Ed is our first Vice President, and we're thrilled to have him in that space. Garrison Cox, our Senior Director of Strategic Marketing and Communications, has been working day and night for the last 3 months along my side in Red 7E to get all of this stuff put together. So thank you, Garrison. And we have our newest team member, Candace Cook. She is our membership coordinator. She literally just started last week. So you can go to our website to connect with them, to learn more about this talented team. I just wanted to thank them and express my appreciation for all that they do. Cnpe has been actively revisiting and revamping the way we work. In 2020, the staff worked with Gifted by Design, a Black consulting firm led by Letty Johnson and joined by her affiliate partner, Stevon Edwards, to work with us on better understanding our culture and how we can better serve our Black and Brown nonprofit leaders. I believe Letty and Stephen are with us today. I hope you are. So quick shout out and thank you for helping Cnpe grow and evolve. This past year, the board retained the Racial Healing Project led by Rashad Abdur-Rahman, and I believe Rashad's with us today as well. Thank you, Rashad and the Racial Healing Project team for guiding the board and the staff through multiple trainings. And now we're getting ready to move into a planning phase together where we'll clearly articulate and measure our impact in creating a more just and equitable organization, and also, and maybe even more importantly, to help Cnpe help other organizations do the same as well. To demonstrate some of the changes we've made, I'm happy to share that 2 years ago, Cnpe had one person of color on our board of directors. Today, more than 50% of the Cnpe board of directors is BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color. We are re-examining how and what programs we offer, who delivers them, and how we're doing. We will also monitor who is participating. And to that end, Cnpe is committed to ensuring that our program reflects the diversity of organizations in our community and the people in them. We would like to make sure we are reaching voices from every corner of the nonprofit social impact sector, gaining insight from their wisdom and understanding their needs along the way. In a minute, we will put up a quick poll to help Cmpe better assess and understand our audiences and participants of today. This key data will help us develop a deeper understanding of which voices we are attracting, and perhaps more importantly, which voices we are not. Rest assured, the poll is anonymous. Any reporting using this data will be in the aggregate, and it will not contain any personal identifiable information. Merv, would you start the poll? So now I want to share a few numbers, give you a sense of our impact and reach. In 2021, Merv, if you could pop that on, there you go. In 2021, we hosted 72 courses, and there were more than 1,800 participants in these trainings. 455 of those 1,800 participants attended the first year of our School for Fundraising and Engagement. Those numbers told us there was a demand and need for fundraising training. We're thrilled about that success. In addition to the trainings, Cmpe hosted 15 forums with more than 1,300 participants. We're happy to report this is a significant increase in involvement with Cmpe. As a matter of fact, since COVID, we've had an increase of 138% in our participation. And we've distributed 56 e-news editions and 13 bulletins to ensure nonprofit news, useful resources, and event information continues to flow throughout our sector. As you have just experienced through taking our poll, we monitor who is showing up for our events. Our goal is to ensure that at least 30% of people participating in our programs are BIPOC. Our goal for faculty is 30% as well. We are meeting these goals and exceeding them in some areas. In 2021, 40% of the faculty for the fundraising school were BIPOC. And this year in 2022, it's 50%. This is an example of what Cmpe means when we say we'll operate through an equity lens. We're still learning, and we expect to improve every year. Now for a quick financial update. Dan Pallotta, who was our keynote at the 2019 Changemakers Conference, talks about the fact that we have two economic systems, one for business, one for nonprofits. Business knows to be successful, you must invest in talent and benefits. You must provide professional development and trainings, and you must market and communicate your value and offerings and be able to tell your story. We as a sector must also find ways to invest in those things. It's important to invest in nonprofits the same way we invest in business. Cnpe, on behalf of the entire sector, will be carrying that message to donors and the community at large. And you'll be hearing more about that in the months to come. Now I want to quickly show you a slide of our budget and how it's broken out. Cmpe's growth and transformation required investment. In the past 3 fiscal years, we've increased our budget 71%. This has enabled us to elevate our programs, hire new staff, develop a new strategic plan, rebrand Cmpe, overhaul our website, and improve our technology. It enabled us to start a new fundraising school while at the same time providing these services at an accessible and affordable rate. Membership does not come close to paying for the services we offer. In our 22 years, we have never raised our membership fees. Right before COVID, we were scheduled to increase the fees, but decided to hold off until we moved through the pandemic. In addition, we have never turned anyone away from participating or becoming a member because they didn't have the resources. In 2021, we gave 60 scholarships and received $20,000 in donations to fund these scholarships from the James Graham Brown Foundation and CENS Foundation. We plan to continue awarding need-based scholarships. This is reflected in the revenue pie chart on the left. As you can see, membership is less than 10% of our earned income. Learning, which includes fees and tuition, is about 1/4 of our revenue. Over 60% of our revenue comes from philanthropy, really primarily from foundations. That's what enables us to keep membership and tuition affordable and accessible. And of course, none of this could have happened without our foundational partners who are listed on this slide. Many of these funders have been with Cmpe since the beginning. And a special shout out to Mason Rummel, the CEO of the James Graham Brown Foundation. Mason has been there from the beginning, and the new Cmpe could have never happened without her. So thank you, Mason, for your leadership and for believing in the importance of Cmpe. And I'm going to add on to what Kristen said, an additional shout out to our board, current chair Kristen Boone and our former board chair Tess McNair. Tess, your guidance and fierce passion for our community kept us energized and focused through some really difficult times. I want to thank you all. So I've covered a lot of material. If I had more time, I would cover more material. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me about how we're funded, how that process works. I'm happy to talk to you about it. So with that said, I'm happy and delighted to introduce my friend, Ashley Parrott, CNPE's Vice Chair of the Board and a Program Officer for the James Graham Brown Foundation. She will tell you all about the new CNPE.
Thank you, Anne. So in 2020, Cnpe adopted a new strategic plan. And I'm not going to take you through it line by line, but I invite you to visit our website and check it out. It's under the About Us section. And we always welcome your input and ideas on how to evolve and improve for greater impact. So if you take a look at that and you have some thoughts, ideas, please feel free to share that with us. And I do want to take a moment and read the new values, vision, and mission for Cnpe. So we'll go through that. So our values, Cnpe's values are love, equity, learning, and courage. The board and staff are going to focus on ensuring those values are infused in what Cnpe does every day. Our vision, Cnpe envisions a just and equitable community that supports and emboldens nonprofits to ensure everyone has the resources and opportunity to thrive. Our mission, Cnpe accelerates the success of nonprofits through capacity building, connections, and community support to amplify the good work of the sector. And I'm going to read that for you one more time, just so it sinks in for everyone. So Cnpe's mission is for Cnpe to accelerate the success of nonprofits through capacity building, connections, and community support to amplify the good work of the sector. Now, Cnpe has always been in the capacity building business, and we will continue to do that in bigger and bolder ways. But what is new is our focus on strengthening a nonprofit ecosystem based on connections, meaning knowing each other better and working together to build community support. And community support is a really exciting and new space for Cnpe because we believe it's important for us to play a larger role in helping bring more support and attention to our nonprofit community. And we also believe that there's a role for everyone to play in creating and growing a more generous and engaged community who understands the need and how they can be a part of it. So it's now my pleasure to turn the program over to Dave Christopher, who's a Cnpe board member and the founder and executive director of AMP. Dave?
Thank you, Ashley. My job, I think, is the funnest part, is I'm going to talk to you guys about the new Cnpe logo. So Cnpe's new logo is important, not for its own sake, but because it more clearly communicates our mission and values. Here's what I hope you will notice. Our new logo comprises 4 arrows, each a different color coming together. They are in a group but remain distinct. Our goal is not assimilation, but sharing. The arrows are coming together because we recognize that one of the most important things we can do at Cnpe is convene the nonprofit community, bringing people together to share challenges, solutions, opportunities, best practices, and strategies. These 4 arrows represent 2 interrelated concepts. They represent our 4 values, but they also represent the diversity of nonprofit organizations we represent. We all profit when nonprofits thrive. If you attended the 2019 Changemaker Conference and heard Cnpe CEO Ann Coffey's speech at the luncheon, she wasn't shy about saying how the word nonprofit doesn't adequately describe our sector. It's a tax status, not a description of the impact we make. Just in case you missed it, here's what she said. We must communicate the value of what we do. We are for people, for economy, for equal opportunity. We're for all families thriving. Our community can't flourish without us. We are positive influencers for social good. That language is powerful. Words create worlds and its importance, that we communicate our value. Cnpe's new tagline lifts up the main point of our value. We all benefit and profit when nonprofits thrive. Stephen George, Cnpe board member and president of Louisville Public Media, will give you a quick tour of the new website.
Thanks so much, Dave. It's nice to see everybody. It's such an exciting day. I have had the privilege of going through this new website with a fine-tooth comb, and I am so excited to be the one to share it with you today. So let's get going. The first thing you're going to see are these beautiful images. And these are all from Cnpe members. I want to say a special thank you to those who provided them: Family and Children's Place, New Directions, the Backside Learning Center, CoSare Charities, Fund for the Arts, Home of Innocence, the Innocents, and of course my organization, Louisville Public Media. Important note here: if you've got photos you'd like to share, just let us know. We want to be showcasing the work of all of our nonprofits. I also want to stop and note the new tagline. As Dave said, we all profit when nonprofits thrive. I love that. Love the wordplay. I love how memorable it is, and I think it's direct. So the most important part, maybe, how can we help you? We'll walk you through one example: board governance, right? So I wanted to make a special note of events on demand, consulting. You've got a whole lot of options as you scroll through this page. And don't forget that members get 90 minutes of consulting free every year. So make sure you take advantage of that. It's easy access to important information, convenient drop downs. And then, as you're looking here, just click through, you hit those drop downs, you'll see additional info, you'll see links out to where you need to go. Check that out. It is really, really user friendly. And one of my favorite things about this is that it is focused on you. It's not a pamphlet for Cnpe. It is something that is focused on your needs. I also want to talk about our new blog, A Bigger We. Be sure to check that out. Some very cool writing in there from Anne. Also, I wanted to note, as we go down our foundational partners, huge shout out to each of you for your support and for helping so many nonprofits. As we continue to go down, we're going to see your opportunity to sign up for e-news right there at the footer. Also, if you want to share photos, that's where you go. If you want to, any connection you want to make with Cnpe, you got it all right there. The site's brand new, right? So we know it's going to need some tweaks. So if you find anything, hit us up, let us know, we'll fix it, we'll update it. And so I also wanted to say a very special thank you to Red 70. What you've seen about the new brand and on this website took countless hours of work and planning. And anybody who's ever gone through a website redesign knows that. A great deal of thanks and appreciation straight to Red 70. They created the new brand, the new logo, the new website. In particular, I want to shout out Dan Barbacek, who's the president and executive creative director at Red 70. He attended and led many of the strategic branding conversations with the board early in the process. He helped Cnpe answer the big question of what Cnpe wants to accomplish ultimately. So thank you, Dan, for sharing your amazing talent and bringing other amazing talent with you to make it happen. John Fairfield, who is the creative director, also spent countless hours on all the designs, the logo, the website, everything else to make it all come together. Thank you to Susan Newhaufen, the account director for Red 70, who kept everything moving forward, and to Carl Feige, the creative director, for the new video that you're going to see soon called We All Profit When Nonprofits Thrive. So thank you all for helping support Cnpe. Couldn't be more excited about this website. Ashley, back to you.
Thank you, Stephen. And I'm looking at the comments that are coming through in the chat. It sounds like people are pleased with what they're seeing. And, it looks like the website has come a long way, and I think will be an incredible tool for the community to access, and particularly in a more easy way than it has been in the past. So that's great. So now we want to share a few highlights of our new signature programs and hear from a few people who've experienced them firsthand. So let's begin with the Cnpe School of Fundraising and Engagement. So this is Kentucky's first fundraising school and possibly the first to be operated through an equity lens. The Cnpe school was created in partnership with Ashley Roundtree Consulting and with support from the James Graham Brown Foundation. And we had more than 400 people participate in the spring and fall sessions in 2021. And so classes are going to start again in February. So I believe sign up is still open. And you may want to put a note in there on that, but that's an opportunity to plug in. So today we've asked Heather Burns, the outreach director for the Commonwealth Theater Company, who has taken 7 classes at the School of Fundraising, to say a few words about what she liked about her experience. And hopefully that'll encourage others to join in. Heather?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. As the Outreach Director of Commonwealth Theater Center, which is an educational theater company here in Louisville, my primary work focus is on the details of programming. But I know that the stories of programming are the fuel of fundraising. So when I saw that Cnpe was hosting a fundraising school, I realized that this was the perfect opportunity for me to learn how to be a better partner to our development director, which would in turn strengthen our organization. So in my experience, I've attended 7 classes now, and they are so organized. The presenters are sharp and thoughtful people, and there's a balance. There is a balance with a time to listen to the expertise and the information, and there is time to discuss and to group think and share ideas and problem solve with each other. I've learned so much from these classes that are going to contribute to our organization and to my personal growth and career. You learn to share why you matter, and how you matter, and how to nourish the cycle of investment and stewardship. It's a reminder that people want to invest in what you inspire to do, and how to invite them into your community. I know that I'm going to keep referring back to my notes, to the classes that I took as I move forward, and I'm going to keep looking for opportunities to reconnect with the Cnpe community. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, Heather. And thank you for your participation and hopefully pushing the word out, to others about why this program is so important for our community. So the next program I'd like to highlight is Nonprofit Leaders Advancing Racial Equity. Now, this is an education and training series designed in partnership with Michelle Shelton, LLC, and prepares nonprofit CEOs and executive directors, both personally and professionally, to do work that engages them in collective efforts to foster greater racial inclusivity and equity throughout their own organizations and in our community. So earlier this month, we had 15 nonprofit leaders who embarked on a 6-month journey that will build a network of trust and support as they explore the challenges and the opportunities presented by the current social justice and anti-racism movements. So these are the realities that directly impact how they perform and their roles and the services they provide to community. So with us today is Paul Robinson, CEO of Home of the Innocents and a participant in the first cohort in 2021. So he's going to share a few words about his experience. Paul?
Thanks, Ashley. Good morning. It's nice to see all of you all virtually. I was fortunate to be a part of the inaugural cohort that met 6 months last year. I see several of you on this call that joined me in that as well. It was an incredible opportunity to come together to embark on some brave conversations about the responsibilities that each of our organizations have to advance racial equity. But really bigger than that was the competence, the learning, and the support that we drew from one another through the support of Cmpe that really is bigger than ourselves, bigger than our organizations. What we are getting ready to do as a former cohort is to come back together to talk about what we can do to better support the community. So it really is taking that experience. It really helped us at our own organizations, but we pulled together and we amassed together to really see what can we do for the community? What statement can we make to the community about what we learned and what we can do to make this a better community? I can't tell you how incredible the experience was. What I was able to bring back to our organization, who has already made a commitment to advance racial equity. It has really helped to accelerate our conversations internally and help us advance our work to hopefully be a better organization for our community. So I hope everybody will encourage one another to take part in that opportunity as it becomes available down the road. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Paul. And for as we continue to go through these, program highlights, if you have questions or comments that you want to include in the chat, be sure to do that, and we'll pull it out at the end of the meeting. So the final program I'd like us to highlight is the Community Activation Network. And so we launched a virtual table for the nonprofit sector that is big enough for everyone, and everyone is welcome. And the Community Activation Network, also called CAN, is a forum for nonprofit social impact leaders, volunteers, and funders to hear about the most pressing issues and needs of our community. And it's really been a place where new voices are heard and new connections are made. And we spent the most of 2021 exploring public safety in our community, particularly because it is obviously a community crisis. And from that, we generated a report. And on Thursday, we're going to share that report with you about all of our learnings from each session. So the report will also be on our website, so you can find more information there. So Shannon Petimo, who is Stewardship and Volunteer Manager at St. Joseph Children's Home, she was asked to share her experience. She's been an active participant in CAN, but she's not able to join us at this time. But I would like to read some remarks she shared that highlight her experience with CAN. So I'm going to go through those. So these are Shannon's words. So CAN leads the examples as to what inclusion exemplifies. CAN understands that representation matters, and in doing so, it educates all of us and grants the opportunity to share stories and experiences. When we're honest with ourselves, we determine that we have more commonalities than not. Lastly, CAN is compassionate and a safe space to share our experiences in a very authentic format. And that, from my vantage point, I totally agree with those comments. I know there are many of you who are on this call today who have been active CAN participants. I just want to thank you for your participation and engagement. And I know there will be more to come around that into this year. So I'd now like to turn it over to Ann, who will tell us more about what's next for CMPE and close us out.
Thank you, Ashley, and Paul and Heather, and I'm sorry Shannon couldn't be with us, but I really appreciate you taking the time to be here. So what's next? Well, we're still in full speed ahead and moving as quickly as we can. One of the big things for 2022 is hopefully a new headquarters. And we're thinking about it in a different way. So yes, it'll be our offices, it'll be a place where we'll work, but we're really thinking and broadening our vision about having a real home for the sector, a convening space for the sector, a place where you can come and have retreats, a place where you can come and host board meetings and can connect with other nonprofit folks. So more to come on that. We're in the middle of that process. Hopefully we'll get to share news soon. In addition, we'll be hosting our first mayoral candidate forum in this primary season. We've never done anything like this before. So this is part of the elevation phase we're in and the new transformation. We think it's really important. You've told us it's really important that we need to be working with our local public officials, more with the mayor's office, all those folks, to make sure people are thinking about the nonprofit sector and constantly understanding the important impact we all make on this community. So we'll be in that space. So please join us for that. And we'll be focused on supporting and growing our membership base. Yes, that's important. Yes, it's part of our bottom line, but that's not the real reason we're doing it. The real reason we're doing it is we want to create the most connected, vibrant sector ever seen in this community. And we have to be connected. And so this membership base, if you will, is the way to do that. So we can share information back and forth, so you all can share information with each other. And so we can really create and build a thriving ecosystem. So I want you to understand the importance of membership. So if you're not a member, please join. And yes, it's for nonprofit organizations, but it's also for individuals who are volunteer leaders. You may serve on a committee. You may serve on a board. You may want to serve on a board. If you care about governance, if you care about planning, if you care about budgeting, any of that kind of stuff, this is your home. This is the place to be. So please join and please renew when that time comes. And I'm really excited about Candace Cook being in this space. And I know she's looking forward to meeting all of you. So there's more to come. And the best way to keep up with us is track our website and get on our e-news. So if you haven't signed up for e-news, do that. And so the next thing we're going to do, we're going to show you something. And then whatever time we have left, if you want to stay and ask questions, we're happy to stay with you. But we want to show you what we're talking about when we say elevate the sector, lift you up as organizations and as the work that you do. So we're going to show you a video. And I'm going to ask Merv to get that teed up. It's Where Would We Be? Starring the nonprofit sector.
What would Louisville be like without food assistance groups? Where would mothers and kids in danger find safety without shelters? How would we achieve racial equity without community advocates? How many among us would suffer or die without those who fill the gaps in healthcare? What would our future be like without youth counseling? What would our city be like without nonprofits who help the homeless? What would our environment be like without nonprofits dedicated to protecting it? Where would we be without animal shelters? Where would we be without art museums? How would we replace the joy of city parks? What would we do without our many performing arts groups? How will we reduce poverty without people committed to ending it? How can we expect neighborhoods to thrive without organizations that lead the way? Where would we find alternatives to the nonprofits supporting Louisville's refugees? What would threatened children endure without those who shield them from harm? What would replace Louisville's organizations that help people get good jobs? What would we be without those who defend the vulnerable? What sort of place would we be without groups of passionate volunteers? Where would we be without community-wide generosity and philanthropy? Despite concerted efforts, some of our region's toughest jobs won't be tackled by government alone. Despite our best intentions, some of our community's most urgent needs aren't likely to be met by business. Before you think there's no profit in the nonprofit sector, consider all that nonprofits do. We all profit when nonprofits thrive. That's Cnpe, the Center for Nonprofit Excellence.
Bravo, bravo again to Red 7E and the team that put that together, and all the organizations who shared their images and videos to help us put all that together. So we're hoping that you will take this video and share it with your networks, put it on your social. Let's start getting it out there. And we will have other versions available over time. This is a 2-minute and 50-second video. There'll be 60-second and 30-second videos, and we'll push this out to you, and we encourage you to share it. Again, thank you, Red 7E. It's really been amazing. So I think now we'll move into any kind of questions any of you might have about what you've seen, what you've heard, any comments you would like to make. We've got a few more minutes. Anybody, I don't know how to do this because there are so many of you here.
Let me see here. If you do have pressing questions, go ahead and include those in the chat and we'll try to field those. But there are some questions about access to the video. Some people want to go ahead and get that shared out pretty quickly. So Anne, can you share more about that?
Yes, we'll get that to you. We're putting it out on social noon today. But what we can do is turn around and send you a link as soon as we conclude. So we'll get you a link. Thank you. That's wonderful. I know I saw something about the mayor's forum. Someone asked when that's scheduled. It's not scheduled yet. We'll hopefully be able to announce that in a couple of weeks. We haven't even reached out to candidates yet, so surprise. Other questions? Can you see?
I'm looking to see if there's any other questions. A lot of positive comments. Okay. So it looks like some individuals are looking to be paired with strategic consultants. And, there's one question about how do you get the 90-minute consultation that Cmpe provides? What does that process look like? Can somebody from Cmpe staff speak to that?
So Ed Cordes, you're up.
Call me. That's the easiest way. I'm putting my email in the chat. You can contact me there.
Great. And then another question is, how are we or Cmpe handling board match volunteers? So if we know that there's a pool of volunteers interested in connecting to a board, what is the process for that?
So the question is, how do you sign up on Board Match? Is that the question?
Yes.
Okay, you just go to the site and just follow the steps. If unless Merv, you want to add, or someone wants to add to that, it's a pretty simple process. I will tell you, Board Match is on the vision board, meaning we're hoping once we get through a couple of these big programs that we're involved in right now, that we're going to take Board Match and hopefully build that program to make it more robust. Maybe even have it as a platform where you can be qualified, go in and take certain levels of training, what it means to be a board member and those kinds of things. So I'd be curious in the future if any of you are interested in being engaged in that, please reach out to us.
Just a couple other comments. Kate Lindsay stated, she'd love to have more, we should have more collaborative forums where smaller nonprofits can discuss and share resources. And I know this has been a conversation among different organizations, no matter what sector they're in. So, Anne, I don't know if you have any comments about that, or if there's been work Cmpe is doing around that. And then also a question about how much is membership and the benefits of the membership.
Right. So why don't we, Merv, while we're answering those questions, why don't you put up the site and go to membership? And that's the best and easiest way to answer that question. Right now it's based on size of budget. So if for right now for individual members it's $50, and then it moves up, I think it goes to 100 for a certain size organization and ladders on up. And as I said, we've never increased our membership fees. We are going to have to do that. We had a number of focus groups prior to the pandemic talking to members about that. And everybody we talked to said, oh my gosh, we can't believe you haven't done that. Yes, you should do that. So you can see here on the website, you can just go to membership benefits. Yeah, let's walk through that. So free job postings, you get professional development discounts, you get listed on the membership directory, which is what I'm really excited about because it's broken out by the taxonomy. So people can find you, anybody can go to our website and find an organization that's a member that's working with animals or human services or children or whatever the topic may be. You have board match access, discounted consulting, D&O and unemployment insurance benefits and discounts, group health coverage. We also have available salary data for nonprofit roles. And we'd love to know how to expand this list and what other things you would like to see in terms of benefits that we could help with. One of the things I will tell you we're looking into, we just started a task force on creating retirement benefits and multi-partner plans and what role we might be able to play in that to reduce the fees of what that might take for an organization to sign up for such a thing. So we're constantly looking for new ways to support you all. That's our whole reason for living. Our whole mission is to support you and help you accelerate in your work. And so when you have ideas about how to do that, please contact us.
One other question I think it's worth lifting before we close out is, is there a way to connect with other Cmpe members of similar missions For instance, are there forums or discussion boards of members working in the same space? Like for instance, with the unhoused community that can come together. And I know there are already spaces in the community that where some of these collaborative efforts are happening, but it's like, is there a way to, you know, connect our members to those existing spaces so that they're plugged in? Another example is like in the mental health space is another area where, you know, more collaboration is going on.
Yes, I would say yes. I think part of our role is to be a bridge. So whatever you're interested in those spaces, you can contact me, Merv, Ed, Bridget. And once we get Candace onboarded, you can contact her, give her a couple of weeks. But yes, I think we would take your advice and leadership on that, and we're happy to be a convener. We see ourselves as a convener. So yes, the answer is yes.
All right, those are all the questions we have.
Oh my gosh, this has only taken 3.5 years to get here. Can you imagine? And, you know, I want to again thank Kevin Conley. I think Eric Schmall is on here, and others that were with Cmpe for a long time, still are involved in Cmpe, that built the foundation, built the infrastructure for us to take this next big step. We could have never done it without them. So thanks to all of you. Thank you, Dean Roundtree, the board, C. Laurie Flannery, all of you so much. Ashley, as always, you do a great job in helping facilitate, and we hope to see you soon. Sign up, stay in touch, reach out, have a great day. Remember, we all profit when nonprofits thrive.